All right. Can everyone hear me? Perfect. I always like to give the mic a little test because I'm fearful of like blowing out people's eardrums as soon as I grab the mic. But thanks for the introduction. My name is Alyssa Tanaka. I am the Senior Manager of Innovation and Chief of Staff for AdventHealth's Clinical Analytics Department. I am excited to be here and speaking to this group because I am a UCF grad. I got my PhD from the Modeling and Simulation program at UCF. I worked for about 8 years at a small business defense contractor within the Research Park area. So, huge advocate for all of the great work that UCF and the surrounding areas are doing for advancing technology. So, really appreciative of that. I'm here today because AdventHealth is really excited to help sponsor this event, bring together a lot of thought leaders to have some great discussions around AI in the medical space. And I'm just going to talk. I planned about like 7-ish minutes, so I won't bore you guys to death, hopefully. But just to give a couple of updates on some of the interesting and innovative concepts that AdventHealth is doing, both in the Lake Nona area and just kind of at large. And so I'll start off with giving a quick update on the Lake Nona, AdventHealth Lake Nona campus and kind of what's going on there. So we are building our AdventHealth Lake Nona campus. It's looking to open in late 2026, starting with about 80 beds. It's going to be a really nice, large campus, but it's also going to be a hub for a lot of innovative concepts. And so I'll talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, this is a great location to be at, right? Pretty strategic, close to the airport, close to Disney, and close to a lot of industry and academic partners that are really important to, again, help foster some of the innovative thinking that we've been doing at AdventHealth. For those of you who don't know, we also have a standalone emergency department that already exists pretty close to here. And so it's a really great location for us to be opening a large medical center at. I don't know. It wasn't me either. This is. I am. It's just oh, there we go. I would be the one that broke it, though. That's possible. Yeah, for sure. Sorry. Awesome. So this is an overview kind of rendering of what our campus is going to look like. And the intent for this campus is to not only be a place that patients want to come to receive exceptional care, but also a location that is, sorry, I know you want me to stand, I'm getting blinded a little bit. Be a place that patients want to come to receive exceptional care, but also provide a location that is thinking about the whole person and the experience as a whole. So you can see kind of up at the top left there, right? That's going to be our actual medical center. But over the promenade, kind of on the right-hand side, we're also going to have this more community-based space that will allow folks to come together, interact, provide a kind of pedestrian first area where families can get together, have dinner potentially, and just think about the whole person care and their overall wellness. And so this is kind of the concept here, right, where we're going to have this entire space adjacent to the hospital that has some medical office buildings where folks would obviously go see their physicians, but also health and wellness-based retail, restaurants. And the kind of concept, right, is that families might come here on a Saturday night, right? Get some dinner, walk around, enjoy the lakeside view, maybe see a small concert, and just spend time with each other and take care of themselves from a whole person kind of perspective. And the hospital, kind of as a whole, is really being designed very intentionally to provide a natural kind of space from everything from the design, the materials that are being used, to just provide a very natural space that is a hospital but doesn't feel like you're in a hospital. And so we're thinking about this kind of whole person care idea where families can get together. You can come and you can receive exceptional care. You can spend time together. You can eat foods that are good for you and take a walk outside. But our AdventHealth Lake Nona campus is also going to be a location that really thinks a lot about innovation, and it's kind of a proving ground, right, for some of the innovative concepts that we're thinking about. So the rooms that'll be in the AdventHealth Lake Nona campus are all going to be smart rooms. So they're going to be equipped with cameras, digital interfaces that will allow the patients to interact with their providers. We're testing out some concepts around autonomous equipment delivery, other kinds of movement technologies to transport patients and equipment from place to place. It's also going to be the epicenter for minimally invasive surgery innovation and incisionless surgery innovations. And so looking to have this location really be at the forefront for pushing some of those technologies and advancements forward. And so, we're really excited about AdventHealth Lake Nona opening. We're excited about the innovation and the kind of thought that it's going to be bringing to this community. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about AdventHealth as a whole and how we're kind of thinking about these advanced technologies and AI, right? Because, it's one thing to say that we're really excited about the advances in AI and what it can bring us. But I want to really also share with this community that we're thinking about doing that responsibly, safely, ethically for our patients and our providers that are using it as well. And so there's a lot of text on this screen, and it's not super important. All of this image is really just to say that at AdventHealth, we have a vision for how we're going to continue to provide exceptional care to our patients moving forward. And we really believe that AI is a tool that will help us achieve that faster, quicker, safer, in a more cost-effective way potentially. And so we're really thinking about that, and we believe that that is the future. And we have a few different mechanisms that we're kind of putting in place to help us think about how AI can be part of this vision, how we're going to keep moving forward. And so I want to talk a little bit about that. So one of them is AI advisory boards. So we've had 7 AI advisory boards. And the kind of motto for this is to put curiosity on the agenda and to bring external thought leaders from the community into our hospital systems and align them with our clinical stakeholders, clinical leaders, and get them talking about some of the hard problems and interesting problems that might exist within the AI space. We have our 8th one coming up in October. Dr. Hadley actually came and was a speaker for one of them, which was really great and gave us a great perspective, both on the UCF side and just generally, about how we should be thinking about AI moving forward. Another kind of activity that we participate in is industry research. So that kind of ranges. We take some courses. So there was an AI in healthcare MIT online course that some of our team participated in. We also participate in different kinds of memberships. So CHI is one organization, Coalition for Health AI. TRAIN is another organization that we participate in. And so these are also important activities that we like to engage in to help us understand what is going on in the community. And a lot of these kinds of activities allow us to engage with external folks, have some discussions, and then bring those back to our organization and distribute them. And then lastly, we are doing some internal pilots and internal research around the implementation of AI. One example is an evaluation of the EPIC sepsis model, really to look at how we should be integrating that into our healthcare system, the efficacy, the validity of that within our local population. And so I just wanted to kind of set the stage of why are we even talking about this, right? Like why are we having AI advisory boards? Why do we even care? And the reality is that, I think we all know this, right? You can't go to a conference and not hear about AI, get on Instagram or TikTok, whatever you're doing, right? We're all hearing about AI everywhere we go. The number of FDA-approved AI-enabled medical devices has increased 10 times between 2018 and 2023, right? And so it's not going anywhere. And again, this chart is pretty small, but the kind of takeaway here is looking from left to right, you see the numbers increasing. They continue to increase. They're going to continue to increase. New AI, FDA-approved devices are going to continue to come to the market. The other kind of takeaway here is that if you go down vertically, there are still some white gaps, right? Radiology has a ton of devices that are FDA approved, but if we let's look at dental or let's look at some of these other microbiology, there are none listed there, right? And so the kind of takeaway is that there's also opportunity. And so at AdventHealth, we are thinking about AI and how we need to integrate it, both from the perspective of it's not going to go anywhere. It could certainly help us to optimize our processes. But there's a lot of opportunity for us to keep help with some of that innovation and to fill in some of the gaps if possible. Oops. And so I just want to put this up here to say, we are interested in AI. We're thinking about it actively, having different kinds of committee meetings on it, and talking about it day to day within our hospital system. But I want to give a little bit of perspective on how we are thinking about the implementation of AI. And I heard Dr. Metcalf, I think, talk a little bit about human AI teams, and we like to show this as an example of, we don't think and we don't expect necessarily that in the near future AI is going to kind of take over for our docs. This is a study where the human AI teams performed as good or better than the human and the AI alone. And I think that's really the message, and that's the kind of message that we continue to keep in our minds around the use of AI, where we are looking at it as an enabler, a teammate, a co-doc for our physicians, and thinking about how it can help our practice. Has anyone here used Microsoft Copilot? Yeah, okay. I did not use it until I came to the hospital system, and everyone's like, you gotta get Copilot. You gotta get Copilot. Why are you taking notes? You gotta get Copilot. Anyways, that's the kind of perspective, right? Your Copilot. You probably don't let that go, write an email for you and just send it, right? You probably look it over, you read it, you edit it, make sure that it's right. That's the kind of relationship potentially that we're thinking about. And then lastly, I just wanted to put this up. Part of this thinking includes responsible AI practices. We are members of CHI. We're founding members of CHI. We participate in a lot of the work groups and the meetings that they're having and the discussions. They're producing a lot of really great products for evaluation and monitoring of AI tools. They also put together this kind of process for governance and development of AI within an implementation within a hospital system. And so these are the kinds of processes that we're thinking about as we're engaging in the community and think are really important, right, for implementing AI in a responsible and safe way. Like I said, I was trying to keep it quick, but I might stick around for a little bit longer. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to grab me. Just want to thank Dr. Hadley for inviting us to contribute to this event and to sponsor it. I think it's really important and great for this community to be coming together and talking about some of the really hard problems in AI medicine. I will also be at AI Med Global on this week, so if you see me, make sure you stop by and grab me, say hi. Thanks so much. Yeah, I don't know about the costs. I could check and I could find that out for you. But what I will say is that AdventHealth system is really rooted in whole person care. That's really how AdventHealth started. There's a really interesting story about Adventist Health System, and it actually has some relationship to Kellogg's for those who aren't aware of that, which is a really cool story. But AdventHealth is really interested and invested in whole person care. So not just care when you are at the hospital, but preventing you from coming to the hospital. And I think that the Lake Nona community, you look around and you see people walking. It's a very open space that really supports that kind of perspective of being healthy and taking care of yourself. And I think that was a big motivator for having it here, as well as UCF College of Medicine being here, all of the industry partners that are having facilities here to support the medical innovation and growth. I think that all of that together is really the big pushing factor to have AdventHealth Lake Nona be here. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alyssa. AdventHealth is really doing a lot to help the Central Florida community. So please give her a round of applause. We appreciate you and what you do for our community. So next we have Habil Ghazi. He is kicking some serious butt in the life sciences ecosystem in Lake Nona. Let's give him a round of applause. He really deserves it.
Thank you, always too kind. Well, but good afternoon. I know it's been a long day, so we'll keep this as fast-paced as I can. There we go. So, as this says, I love connecting the dots, right? Like Steve Jobs' thing, looking back, you connect the dots and see where you're ending up, and it's always an interesting journey, what drove you. I've been here about 13 years, the longest I've ever lived in any place, and it's been amazing to see this all basically come from nothing to what you saw with Dr. German's graphic today morning, to where we are today and the activities that are happening here and the research and the innovation that's happening here. My background's in computer science, so AI has been something I've been monitoring for a long time. Was in the tech industry for 10 years and then about 16, 17 years now in the medical device sector. Started my career working in actually neurotrauma for something that could have defense applications with navigation. And we'll share a little bit about what I'm up to today, but mostly about how some of the dots that we have now connected here from a national level to where we are here in Lake Nona. As I mentioned, been in the sector currently Chief Strategy Officer for Revive, which is, we do sort of all aspects of medical device development from design, fabrication, regulatory, QMS, quality management, software development, and integrating that into the machines, and then on the manufacturing production side as well, taking that to market. Also got a role in supporting a company from Poland, which is doing some incredible work in medical imaging. We're able to do intraoperative surgical navigation, taking MRI CT data, ultrasound data, turning that into usable holographic display that we can use for intraoperative navigation, and then applying AI to kind of provide the best paths for a surgeon in a live setting on what should they consider next. I came to Orlando because my wife dragged me here because of this medical school that you heard about today. And I was like, there's nothing here. What am I going to do in medtech in Florida? Like, it's Florida. And we were coming from the Texas Medical Center in Houston, with the world's largest medical center. But within a short time, I realized there was a lot actually already happening in Florida in medtech. We ended up moving our manufacturing within 6 months from Minnesota to Florida, and it's been a phenomenal journey. But where we're in Orlando, within a 2-hour radius, you've got some incredible institutions that have populated this region, right? From Mayo to Cleveland Clinic and others, as well as, of course, our two guerrilla organizations here that are homegrown, 100 to 150 years each, between AdventHealth, AdventHealth, and some of the new institutions that have come here. But within Lake Nona, you've got a representation from all of these, from pediatric care to veterans to adult care and cutting edge care. So we really are fortunate to be geographically in a really great location and have some great neighbors. The US healthcare journey, right? This is a graphic that I was attempting to develop, but I thought it'd be easier to use the healthcare ecosystem textbook developed by Dr. Burns. Just, it is a complicated and very convoluted relationship between different institutions, and how do we actually get access to care. So understanding, when I'm working with startups and early stage companies, understanding like who's actually going to help you pay for a solution that you're developing can be, especially for physicians, interestingly, can be an interest, because they expect a certain way that they practice medicine, but the business of medicine can be very interesting as you get into it. In Orlando, we've got quite a bit of representation across the board in all of those sectors, whether you're dealing with, the physician organizations, of course, the pharmaceutical industry, the medtech industry, the government agencies and funded programs. And today we've got representation here from ARPA-H, which funds some incredible stuff, the health plans. And in Lake Nona, it's been incredible to see how we've now got one of the most active, largest health plans in the country, with GuideWell, Florida Blue, having their innovation center just down the road from here where my office is, to AdventHealth on the other side coming up with a massive investment, to the VA large investment that's only been active really less than 10 years, but already the busiest VA in the country. So we have pieces of all of this happening in our own backyard here, and we got to figure out how do we take advantage of it. And we have companies that have actually taken advantage of it. Some of these came from across the pond, like CMR Surgical is a British company which came and set up their headquarters in the US, in Orlando, because actually I spoke with the CEO years ago when we had met and said, hey, you should consider Orlando. And they're like, no, we're thinking about Boston, as all good British companies usually start off with. But realized with AdventHealth here, and actually, Alyssa, I think you mentioned you were at the Nicholson Center, that institution is just phenomenal. The volume of surgical training development that is going through there, almost every new surgical robotics platform in the world comes through there before they enter the US market. So they ended up checking Orlando as their US headquarters, like after they got a little bit educated about the system, right? And same thing with, we've got a really diverse set of home developed, but also health institutions that have invested here from the outside, health tech companies that have, like Care.ai that just sold to Spire last month, Andor Health, which is working with Microsoft. And I mean, there's a whole list that's happening in all of these. Our challenge is that there's so much happening with such speed that we don't even know what's happening behind some of these closed doors. And we're just learning to build these things up. Sanofi's acquired and invested in 2 companies out of Orlando. Prim has invested in multiple companies in Orlando. And this is a $1 billion investment group that invests in healthcare innovation across the world. And then accelerator support organizations. So in Lake Nona, you're right now in one of these supporting organizations with this facility funded by Tavistock, which has been phenomenal and just kind of acting like a glue to bring people here. And it's great to see the turnout here. But we've got other groups that have been here for a long time with the UCF Business Incubator, which is one of the largest and most active incubators in the country. We have the 6th largest research park. We've got VC groups that started as angel groups now graduated to areas where they're now launching their second $100 million fund and investing in just Florida companies. So incredible opportunities and investments and growth in Florida. And then there's tech hubs that I've mentioned some of these. Happy to take a picture if you're not aware of some of these, but another one here, BioFlorida for Life Sciences is launching their event, their annual innovation conference in 2 days here in Orlando. A lot of talk about AI, medtech, health tech, biotech, all in one place. And then we've got assets like the Kennedy Space Center with everything that investments that are going into space and looking at analysis and like the Dean mentioned about hiring somebody who's was one of the from the Johnson Space Center to lead their College of Medicine in space applications. So, and then in AI also the investment the UCF has made with Dr. Hadley and others. So just phenomenal what's been happening. And when I moved here 13 years back, a lot of this didn't exist. So it's just incredible to see where we've come in just the last decade. You heard a little bit about different aspects of applications in AI in healthcare, and there are some here. This is 2023 data, right? We had 70 deals in protein and drug design, EHRs, automation, radiology, of course. But volume-wise, a lot of funding is going into protein and drug design development, and that's an area where we've had some really cutting-edge companies even here with UF and spin-offs that have come off and grown in the business office right next door here. So we're seeing a little piece of these, but there's tons of opportunity here where I think that's the whole goal with this type of event and Dr. Hadley putting this together year after year to try to get this where it is today. We need more people to know about what's happening in our backyard. So if you have an interest in something, come on out and take advantage of those individuals, those resources, those institutions to make your idea a reality. And especially you're going to need all the help you can get to get through a healthcare system that looks like a microchip. One other piece I wanted to throw in here was some of our longer residing residents in Orlando recognize this, but a lot of new folks don't, that we are a huge hub for specialty pharmacy in the US. And that basically accounts for about 51% of the US pharma spend today, but it's only about 3% of the prescriptions that are signed. But the distribution side of that, whether it's Walmart Specialty is headquartered here, and others that have offices or investments or significant presence like CVS in Orlando, provide and know a lot about getting critical medicines to patients in their home and helping them figure out how to pay for them. And guess what? Now that applies to all, not just drugs and medicines, but to healthcare delivery itself. So some of these executives and investors who've built these companies and sold them to Walgreens and CVS and Walmart are investing today in some of the new innovation on gene therapies and cell therapies. How do we make those accessible? Or helping bring more of those to market and using AI to figure out what are the best candidates that are out there that you don't need to go through 10 years of clinical trials. Last piece I'll try to share here is on the digital side and the AI applications, we have all this great stuff. How do we the challenge some of the folks run into is not necessarily just about working with the healthcare system or physicians that might not know what to do with it. The system is complex, the legalities around it, the access, the contracts. And some of the folks that understand, especially around digital health and AI applications, how to get those solutions out to market are these types of digital health and digital therapeutic aggregators, which have been doing it for other aspects on care, whether it was drugs and others like the specialty pharmacies. But today, almost every large employer is using a system like this to figure out how to get access to new innovations. Because there's we're going crazy looking at 1,000 startups, for example, in some space and saying, how do I pick which one is the best? So they're looking at these aggregators that are kind of doing the due diligence, providing the API integrations with saying, okay, I'm going to provide you a holistic pathway to access that market with a large employer or a large insurance company that already uses them. And some of the largest ones already have their own aggregators like UnitedHealth and CVS, Aetna, and others, right? But some of the startups in our own backyard here in Orlando have done really well once they've found a pathway through some of these channels. I'll quickly share here again, out of all the largest insurance networks in the country, half have significant presence on that specialty side here in Orlando. Half of these companies have physical offices here. So in terms of access, digital health, digital therapeutics, it is a complicated network, but we have just in our small Orlando community, it's incredible the amount of access you actually have. Of course, our health institutions here, I'm going to skip through because in interest of time, but happy to share more with folks. I'll quickly show this as sort of something I believe in. You need a full engaged ecosystem to really deliver high quality care. And your educational institutions are an important part of that, but your supplier base, your vendors need, you have to have the right population to attract those types of things to really succeed and grow and scale. And with our population growth, I think we're now the fastest region in the country, not just Orlando, but Florida in general, but especially within Florida. I think Central Florida, especially just 5 minutes from here in Osceola County, is the fastest growing county even in Florida. And it will be for the next 15 years. So all of these assets will continue to grow. All of these are opportunities for investment and growth. Our digital health companies a lot of these have already been sold, have proven that. And I'll end it right there. Thank you.
Questions, anyone? Yes? Yes?
Habil, thank you so much. Fantastic presentation. I think we've all got to see the ecosystem that you're part of and you're helping to grow. Thank you for your service to the community. From the ecosystem perspective, specifically looking at AI, generative AI, and community, where do you think the growth opportunities lie for our university, UCF, and the companies that might be interested in sponsoring research at UCF?
That's the bottom line, right? We got to connect the dots to make it into something that can really scale. And that's where I think our community is maturing at the level where we are seeing that we need help beyond our own borders. We have great R&D. UCF's patent portfolio is growing rapidly. USF, I know Sarah is here from Tampa, and that incredible stuff happening with USF's medical school and innovations out of there. But to your point, the next level really does take some curation, some maturity in knowing how to make that next leap. Instead of those companies then leaving town and going to whether it's Boston or San Francisco or Chicago or other or New Jersey, if they unfortunate enough to have to go there. But I think we are seeing just, and I'm excited about that trend where we're seeing for organizations like Plug and Play, whether you like it or not, it brings those 600 global corporates to our backyard in semiconductors and smart city. And I think we're very close to hearing an announcement around their healthcare medical division as well. And that just provides access. The work is still upon us to then show up and participate and push those companies and startups to go to the next level. To some extent, we have to stop maybe being as necessarily just sharing positive feedback and be more clear about sharing some of the painful feedback sometimes startups, early stage companies, researchers need to hear to really progress and take that to that next level and connect with those larger opportunities. Otherwise, we won't.
So much is going on in Central Florida. I feel like, have I said it enough? UCF is the best. Yeah. Someone said USF was great. Yeah. 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 But yeah, let's move on with the program. I know Dr. Hadley has some things in the works. I think we have a founders town hall right now.
Yeah, that's right. I think in the interest of time, let's do a founder's question and answer. Anybody that has a demo or anything to present, that's pretty much after a little panel here. Come talk to me in the meantime so we can get it ready, including Dr. Metcalf, yeah.